So this is a very important video for Dogecoin and its holders, as there are some very important things that I want to talk about. So we can see here that Dogecoin co-founder Billy Markus has given a very serious warning to Doge holders and the overall community. He gave this warning because we know that Dogecoin has been going down and a lot of people are getting very stressed out there. So Markus believes that if people are having fun with Dogecoin and not getting too crazy and gatekeepy, then Doge is a valuable brand. And if people start getting crazy, toxic, attacky, and spammy, this hurts a brand. So what he is saying is that the Dogecoin community should be fun, the Dogecoin brand is fun, and this makes Dogecoin the best transactional crypto in the world. So the Doge community should keep it fun and light. Moreover, Markus posted another tweet and he explained that if the community behavior keeps devaluating the brand, some bad things can happen for Doge and its holders. For example, companies won't accept Dogecoin. No new people will be interested in participating in Dogecoin. And existing community members will want to escape the toxicity within the community. So the point is that there are a lot of newbies who have been buying Dogecoin. And we know that Doge has been going down for some time now. And these newbies are getting very toxic. And not only that, they are being very territorial. For example, if anybody even talks about rival cryptos of Doge, then the Dogecoin community gets very attacky. So what Billy Markus is saying is that the Dogecoin community has to stop this toxic behavior. In fact, the community should appreciate projects since there is enough to go around. So if somebody wants to ape into any other crypto, we should let them do it. And if we get attacky, then it will hamper Dogecoin's reputation as a brand. And if this happens, then all these retail stores and businesses will never accept Dogecoin. But since we need this adoption and utility for Dogecoin's mainstream adoption, the Doge community needs to be more encouraging and supportive. And talking about Dogecoin's adoption, we have another important message from Billy Markus. So Billy Markus offered some important directions to the Dogecoin community as to how to get businesses to start accepting Dogecoin for their products and services. And I think that the most practical piece of advice here is to show businesses why accepting Dogecoin can be beneficial for them and how it offers win-win scenarios. And other advice includes not getting entitled or angry when persuading businesses to accept Dogecoin payments. And this relates to his previous tweet we just talked about. So I think this is another very important tweet from Markus. And I think that Billy Markus is just showing the Doge community the right way to persuade major firms and retail merchants to accept Doge payments. And it matters because we know that the Dogecoin community has persuaded major firms in the past to start accepting Dogecoin payments. For example, the Dogecoin community urged Tesla in the past to start accepting Dogecoin payments in the same manner they are doing with other firms. And we know that back in December, their prayers were heard. And Elon Musk announced that the company would begin selling some of its merchandise for Dogecoin to see how it goes. So as I said, Dogecoin holders and the community should focus on these things highlighted by Billy Markus. And if they follow it, then it is highly likely that more and more firms will accept Doge over the long term. In fact, we can see here that about 2K retail merchants are already accepting Dogecoin payments. And seeing how some firms are showing interest in Doge, I think that there will be a massive surge in Dogecoin's adoption in 2022 and beyond. But the main thing is that the Dogecoin community has to avoid all this toxicity. And now, there is another very important update for Dogecoin that I think every holder needs to know about, especially when we are seeing Dogecoin trading on the downside. But I'll come to it later. Let's first see some other updates for the overall crypto market. So it appears that more and more countries are now realizing the value of cryptos, and they are now showing some optimistic approach for the industry. For example, the Japanese government is now considering a proposal to make it easier for registered crypto exchanges to list cryptos in the local retail trading market. So we know that the current listing rules require prospective cryptos to undergo an extensive screening process which can take over 6 months to complete. But if the new rules are passed, exchanges that have registered with the Financial Services Agency would be able to list certain cryptos without performing a lengthy screening process. So this will make it easier and more convenient for investors to start investing in cryptos. Similarly, we are now seeing that Russia is also showing a much more positive approach towards cryptos. And as per recent reports, the Bank of Russia has registered tokenization company Atomyze as the country's first digital asset management company. And according to the official announcement, the Bank of Russia has formally deemed the rules of the company's information system and the platform's technical implementation as being compliant with Russian law. So this registration enables Atomyze to provide its clients with an opportunity to issue crypto-backed funds on its platform as well as obtain new types of assets in the tokenized form. So this is yet another positive news coming from Russia, and I think this is just the beginning. And we will be seeing more good news from Russia in the future. And now we have an important update coming from the US. So a bill has been recently introduced in Congress by Washington Representative Susan Del-Benny, and it aims to exempt crypto users from paying taxes on transactions under $200. Susan Del-Benny is actually seeking to amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to exclude gains from certain personal transactions of virtual currency. And the good thing is that if signed into law, the bill could stop the IRS from requiring U.S. filers to pay taxes on capital gains from crypto transactions under $200. So this is another good news because it will now encourage crypto users to make more and more transactions. And this is very, very positive for cryptos. And now we are seeing that the SEC is also giving some positive signals in regard to the acceptance of spot Bitcoin ETFs. So just recently, the SEC has once again delayed its verdict on the Bitwise spot Bitcoin ETF application. But the good thing is that the SEC hasn't rejected it. It has only delayed the decision on it. But more importantly, the regulator has invited public comments on certain characteristics of the application. And now we know that the SEC rejected several spot Bitcoin ETF applications in recent months, denying WisdomTree, Krypton, SkyBridge, and Fidelity from listing their spot Bitcoin ETFs. So it came as a surprise that the SEC called for public comments on the Bitwise application instead of outright rejecting its request as it did with other proposed spot Bitcoin ETFs. And this means that the SEC is now having a more positive approach towards Bitcoin spot ETFs. And talking about Bitcoin ETFs, we are now seeing that institutional investors in Canada have been heavily investing in Bitcoin ETFs. And just recently, a Canada-based Purpose Bitcoin ETF attracted over $38 million worth of Bitcoin in a single day, its third largest daily inflow to date. And according to data provided by Glassnode, investors poured about 1,000 Bitcoin into the fund, showing the rise in Bitcoin accumulation amid the recent price dip. So it is now clear that more and more investors want to invest in Bitcoin and crypto-backed funds. And another evidence of it is that despite some fear in the crypto market, institutional investors appear to be re-accumulating Bitcoin using dedicated funds. And after recording heavy outflows at the start of 2022, crypto investment funds have seen a gradual uptick in investor demand over the past 2 weeks, offering cautious optimism that the worst of the market downturn had passed. And we can see here that crypto investment products saw $19 million worth of cumulative inflows last week. And Bitcoin and multi-asset funds led the gains with $22 million and $32 million worth of inflows, respectively. And we can see here that during the last few weeks of 2021, the institutional investment in crypto funds was fading away. But it appears that institutional investors were on the sidelines and they were waiting for price dips in the cryptos market to buy the dips. So this is a very positive thing for the crypto market, especially when we are seeing a market-wide sideways movement for some days now. But the most important thing is that this rising interest of investors in crypto funds will encourage the US SEC to finally accept spot Bitcoin ETFs. And now, as promised, let's come to another very important update for Dogecoin and its holders. So it appears that Dogecoin is continuing to break records, and as the popularity of Doge continues to grow, it is now overflowing to other blockchains. And as per blockchain data provided by Masari, there are currently about 4.8 million Dogecoin addresses, and nearly 4.5 million of them hold a balance of over 0.01 Doge. While this is an impressive achievement on its own, an even more surprising attainment for Doge is that its community is now overflowing into the Binance Smart Chain blockchain. And as per crypto data firm Whale Stats, a Binance Smart Chain token-backed one-to-one by Dogecoin is currently held by well over 485K wallets. And the current data also shows that there are over 492K Doge holders on the Binance Smart Chain. And the most astonishing data point is that BSC data shows that the tokenized Dogecoin smart contract is the fourth most used contract on the blockchain, well ahead of Ethereum and USD Coin. And this means that even when Doge has remained on the downside, whales have been getting into the Dogecoin market. And this is just more evidence that Doge is going to grow massively over the long term.